Hey guys, Nick Faruqi here from the Extreme Training Academy. I'm here today at Triton MMA in Woodstock, Illinois. I'm with my friend Alex Embry. Alex, thanks for taking the time, spending some time with us. Alex is going to be teaching Jiu Jitsu, at least his interpretation of Jiu Jitsu, at our Warriors Weekend on March 1 and March 2. Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been doing martial arts for more time than I can count now. I started when I was 16 years old in a couple of Akimbo-based arts, and from there I moved on into shoot fighting, and from there got into what at the time was a new mixed martial arts scene, and that led me to train in pure jiu-jitsu finally. Somewhere along the way I got interested in JKD and a lot of the tools that brings to the table, and that's how you and I met.
Yeah, right.
And got the opportunity to get to know each other. So
right.
A little bit of a background about where I came from.
So you chose jiu-jitsu. I've rolled with Alex, and I don't really fare so well, but you've modified it.
Well, jiu-jitsu in itself is a beautiful art that does a lot of different things for different people. So you really have the opportunity to use the art for a lot of different things, from the very artistic to what it was initially designed for, which was self-defense application. So when I look at my career as a police officer and the tools that I need to bring from a martial art that I study, I look at certain aspects of jiu-jitsu. So more than, I don't want to say that I've modified what I do, but I select those elements of jiu-jitsu that really play best to my career and my job, and I'm able to use those for for the combative application.
So speaking of your job, Alex is a sergeant of a well-known SWAT team, team leader, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm curious to know how either being a SWAT officer has influenced your jiu-jitsu or vice versa. Can you give us a little bit about that experience?
The job as a whole, from SWAT to General Patrol, which is where I spend most of my time in the job, it affects everything you do in your martial arts career, not just my jiu-jitsu, but every tool. But specifically to jiu-jitsu, it's really made me look at those facets of it that I can quickly control and maintain control of a suspect. When you look at the job I'm doing, I don't need to submit them. I don't need to win on points. What I need to be able to do is control individuals. And jiu-jitsu has given me a very, very good tool set to work on that control with a combative suspect. Yeah. And that's really how jiu-jitsu has been affected by my police career. My police career in turn has been affected by my martial arts career as a whole, and specifically jiu-jitsu, because it's let me tailor the training I do as a police officer and the training that I'm involved with teaching other people, good realistic tools that we've been able to pressure test over the years. And one of the greatest things about the job is you really get to pressure test the tools you're bringing to your control tactics. So there's no hypothetical, there's no theory. There is either it has worked successfully under duress or it hasn't. And if you can make it work and repeat that success, then you have a tool that you can utilize under very, very harsh conditions. If something's theory, it does me no good, and it does the people that I'm training no good. So it's really affected how I look at training other officers and how I look at the tools that I bring to the street as an officer.
So let's fast forward. Let's make it over to the weekend here, March 1, March 2.
Excited.
Excited.
Yes.
Everybody's pumped about this thing. When you and I first talked about what information you wanted to cover, you said, I'm going to deal with positional dominance.
Yes.
Okay. Explain to us what positional dominance is and what aspect you're leading us into.
I'm thinking about, when you asked me to teach at this thing, thank you, by the way, I'm very honored to be asked.
Trust me.
When I first thought about what am I going to teach at something like this, the first thing that occurred to me is we have a lot of JKD practitioners there, and you really want to look at jiu-jitsu from what you're already doing, from a JKD perspective. And I've been very lucky and very fortunate in my martial arts career to have some exposure to JKD and its concepts, so I understand what JKD practitioners are looking for in their jiu-jitsu. And I could come in and show all kinds of submissions, and people would probably walk away going, wow, Alex knows some neat stuff. But if that doesn't fit with the JKD mindset, with those priorities, it's useless to you. And so for me to come and talk about something, I looked at it with what is going to be the most beneficial for a JKD practitioner when we look at jiu-jitsu. And one of the things is the concept of positional dominance. And that means that I am always climbing a ladder to get to a position where I can control someone. Now, whether that control is a control and arrest situation that a police officer is faced with, or control in a self-defense situation, and I need to control this individual and keep them there until I'm safe, or keep them there until there's outside intervention, or keep them from hurting me further, or to control them so I can launch my counterattack with the tools that JKD is famous for.
Right.
So what we need to do is be able to take Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, look at that positional dominance model, and be able to move through those steps to gain this positional dominance, this dominance over another person's ability to move and ability to counter and ability to fight you. One of the things that I love about Jiu Jitsu that I found very practical is it has the answer for, it's one of the few arts I've found that has ever had an answer for what happens when the worst case scenario happens and you are taken to the ground. Very few practitioners of JKD that I know want to be on the ground, and that's understandable. When the worst case happens and you are on the ground and you are on your back, Jiu-Jitsu has that answer for you. And if we look at it with a JKD mindset about what are my goals, what are the concepts, what do I need to accomplish, we can bring a lot in from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I want to take that ability, have that answer for that worst case scenario, and utilize some of the JKD mindset to work through some of these Jiu-Jitsu tools so we can end up in a position of positional dominance.
So, which is just opens up a realm of possibilities, right? Having
Sure.
positional dominance, whether you're in a competitive mindset or whether you're in a street style mindset or whatever you're doing. And one of the things that we were discussing in our own time was how positional dominance affects striking ability or striking prevention.
Correct.
And that was kind of the angle that I think you're going to kind of expose us to.
Yes. We're going to talk about minimizing our chances of getting struck from a less dominant position. We're going to work on getting to a dominant position where I can effectively strike. And we're going to talk a little bit about strike selection as it applies to positional dominance, and where are some things we found that works well, where are some things that may or may not be advisable at the time. But we're really going to work on being able to control that distance, which is a huge part of any martial art. Controlling the distance of an attacker, and it's equally as vital on the ground as it is in a stand-up situation. So we'll be looking at the distance and how we're going to utilize that, either closing or getting away from it, to start establishing that position and start dealing with those strikes, whether they're incoming strikes or whether they're outgoing strikes.
Right, right. So let's just, because we have some people who will come into this event that have never done any groundwork. Will they be okay?
They will be great. We are going to start at a very fundamental level with very good tools that, again, don't require an excess of athleticism, that don't require a great deal of exposure to jiu-jitsu to understand. This is not a sport jiu-jitsu seminar where we're looking at some crazy positions that are very acrobatic and very sport-oriented. Everything is very fundamental. We'll be dealing with a handful of core positions. We will be repping those core positions over and over and over again as we progress through the learning curve. So even if at the end of it, like, man, I got steps 1 through 4, I'm still shaky on 5, but you've really got that good core fundamentals, steps 1 through 4, and those are really good steps. Whether you're talking about jiu-jitsu, MMA, or self-defense, combative jiu-jitsu, they're great steps, and no, a new practitioner will not be lost. It's a good fundamental place to start looking at jiu-jitsu.
Well, that's perfect. I'll speak from my own experience. I mean, if you could take a look, I mean, you know, I'm 6'2", 205 pounds. I stand next to Alex and I kind of tower over him, you know, and even a couple weeks ago when I was out here rolling, I mean, I got mopped up because he had that positional dominance. So it wasn't necessarily a size thing. It was where you placed yourself, how you place yourself, and often I found myself kind of fighting my own body weight. I wasn't able to strike. I wasn't able to change position. I wasn't able to put on some kind of a submission, an arm bar, a knee bar, or whatever. And it was because of the way you positioned yourself. And I saw the importance of positional dominance very clearly right then and there. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that these guys will get a chance to experience some of that, you know, spend some time with you.
And we are going to be working a lot. One of the mindsets that I always look at jiu-jitsu with from my exposure to JKD, and my coach Mike Bugnick always looks at from his exposure and his time in MMA, is we look at a lot of live drilling. And it's a core concept of jiu-jitsu as a whole, but as when you talk about pressure testing and really developing a repeatable skill set, it's so important. So we are going to have the time to we're going to take the time to work through a learning progression where we start with technique, great starting point, and then we're going to finish with some drills that hopefully will instill a lot of confidence in the practitioners and the students at the seminar. So I think they will get a chance to experience what that feels like to be in a non-dominant position and work their way to a dominant position and then maintain that.
Awesome. If you guys want to find Alex, he teaches here up at Triton MMA. Give us a couple of lines on Triton MMA. I mean, I've been up here a couple times, but maybe somebody hasn't heard about it.
Triton MMA, we're located in Woodstock, Illinois. Our head coach and owner is Mike Budnick. He's a black belt under Anato Tavares, a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu organization out of Florida. We have a fantastic facility. We teach Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Again, Mike's our head coach. I assist him from time to time. We have a great kids program, Muay Thai, and full MMA program for the individuals that are interested in pursuing that sportive outlet. So fantastic school. Mike is amazing. Come in and check us out if you're interested in training jiu-jitsu or anything related to MMA.
I got mopped up by Mike a couple weeks ago too, and I'm still kind of feeling it. Great guy, very welcoming. If you guys are in the Woodstock, the McHenry County area, come check out Triton MMA. Great group of guys, great facility. You can find Alex here teaching, you know, on certain nights of the week, and just see what their program's all about. I don't think you'd be disappointed by any means. So that's Alex Embry. Alex, thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
And he'll be here on March 1st, March 2nd at the Extreme Training Academy for the Warriors Weekend. We're all pumped about it, and we'll see you guys there.
See you then.